My name is Tadpoles, and in today's video I am doing a tier list on spirits. Now please note that I will not cover every single spirit type that there is in the world. I know that there's a lot, and especially like Native American kinds of spirits that inhabit North America. I will not be covering those, mainly for respect, and also I do want to do a video about them on their own. So not to be rude, but all these spirits are covered, S being the coolest, F being boring. Not that any of these are boring in particular, but to me, that's just kind of how I rank them. Every spirit that I found in this will be linked via the Wikipedia page that I got them off of in the description, of course. And yeah. Let's go. Because I know of these, like personally, and I don't want to leave them out, we're going to begin with some honorable mentions. We're going to start off with Banshees, Poltergeists, Malevolent, and Vengeful spirits, Friendly spirits, and Residual Energies. Here's our tier list. We have it here. You know, it's awesome. It looks nice, I think. There's nothing there for me right now. So before we get totally started, I do want to say at the beginning of the video, I am not pointing to the right spots on the green screen here. So I will point to the wrong spot, but I am saying the right tier. I do fix that later. Starting us off, we have the Banshee from old Irish folklore. When I was little, I used to be very, very afraid of Banshees. If you don't know what they do, or at least how I thought they used to work, they would scream, and if you heard the scream, they would kill you. That's not actually how it works. It is actually, supposedly, allegedly, whenever you hear a Banshee screaming, that means that somebody is dying or on the verge of dying. Because of my background with them, and how I kind of used to act when I used to think of them. To start us off, I'm going to put us in a solid B tier for the Banshees. B for Banshee. I think it is a really good spot for them, and it'll help us set a baseline for today's video. Next up, of course, we have Poltergeists. If you have ever seen the Poltergeist movie, you know that they are not to be messed with.
Did you do this?
While the ghost or the spirit that was in the Poltergeist movie was not, it was more like a demon than a poltergeist. I will say, still very like groundbreaking in setting for a poltergeist spirit type. And honestly, who doesn't want to have a chair thrown at the back of their head? So that's going into A tier. Next up, we have Malevolent and Vengeful spirits. Malevolent and Vengeful spirits are just basically a type of spirit that wants to hurt you or get revenge for something that was done to them. Now, in today's list, we do have a bunch of Malevolent and Vengeful spirits, but this kind of blanket term that I'm using honestly is not that cool. They just kind of hurt you or want revenge. So D tier. Friendly spirits, D tier. And Residual Energies. If you don't know what a residual energy is, it is basically a it was like an event that was so traumatic or eventful that it just kind of repeats itself over and over again in like certain areas. So like the Battle of Gettysburg, the residual energy that resides in Gettysburg cannot actually hurt you, but you might hear like gunfights or you'll see battles, stuff like that. That's what residual energy is. Now, while it is really interesting for today's video, it is not exactly something we're looking for. So it's just gonna slide right on the F tier. I'm sorry, but while it is interesting, it is not going to hurt you. That's what we want. We want to be hurt. We want to be hurt here. Okay, so starting us off in Africa, we have the Kishi. A Kishi is a type of demon typically appearing like as a human, but with a hyena that kind of grows out the back of its head. It is really awesome. Here is an artist representation of it. Pretty cool. It is said that the hyena side of the head is rather ravenous and will just eat people. And the human side is cunning and, you know, will kind of just lure people in for the hyena side of the head. Anyways, this guy is cool. His appearance is unique, and starting us off with this guy is honestly pretty respectful. So, whoa, that's not B tier. B tier. We'll go into B tier. Originating from Ghana and Togo, we have the Bosam and the Bosam. I'm probably saying that wrong. It's okay. Here's how you pronounce it. Bosam. Good job, me. These two spirits are considered vampires. We have a lot of vampires on this list. So saying that, I do want to say that if something is interesting and it is a vampire, it might not get that high. There's only so many places that we can have vampires in. I'm just going to call them the Bosam Brothers because I can't just keep saying that over again. The Bosam Brothers are very, not really similar, but the way that they do things and the place that they live is similar. The Asan Bosam is actually a creature that hangs from trees. It looks vaguely human. The only way to really distinguish it from a human and an Asan Bosam is the fact that the Asan Bosam has little hooks that grow out of its calves. So like imagine this is its calf and its foot. Wait, no, this is its calf and its foot, and it has a little hook right here, and it will use it to hold on to trees. Artist representation. Whoa. The Asan Bosam also has iron teeth. It will use these iron teeth to rip the throat out of its victims after it's, you know, hanging from a tree, and it goes and it bites its, you know. The Sasan Bosam is more of the original, I say original, the like vampire look. It has a bat-like appearance. It has short little stubby legs, pretty, you know, normal human-sized torso, and its arms are rather short, kind of like this, and it has wings, and its wings are very large. Here is a artist representation of the Sasan Bosam. Pretty cool. I'm gonna kiss him on the lips. The Sasan Bosam also live in the same region as the Asan Bosam. They live in trees in Ghana and Togo. Pretty cool. The Sasan Bosam, they don't really have the iron teeth to rip the throat out of their victims, so instead they will drain them like a normal vampire. Now, like I said, because so many of these cultures do have vampire-like spirits and entities, I do have to put these kind of in the middle area just because it is going to help us rank the rest of them later. So for right now, I might change it later. The Sasan Brothers are going straight dab in the middle of C tier. You know, pretty good, pretty middle. Yeah. Up next, we have another vampire, pronounced the Obayifo. It is mostly a spirit, but in some stories and cases, it is a witch, which descriptors I have solely in my notes say anus light vampire. So the story for the Obayifo goes, a witch woman, you know, she's just all witchy, she's all perfect, you know, in the daytime. But at nighttime, the part of the witch that is the Obayifo departs from her body in search of food to satiate its hunger. The Obayifo tends to feed on crops and children, most of the time going for the cocoa plant. And here is the good part about it. It has the ability to produce phosphorescent light from its armpits and its anus. Sometimes in its witch/human form, if the Obayifo is distressed, it will emit these phosphorescent lights even while it's still a human. So imagine you're just walking down the road, you bump into somebody, and their armpits start to glow. That'd be freaky as hell. The feeding process on a victim can take multiple days to complete, mainly because the Obayifo feeds on energy instead of blood and flesh. Honestly, due to this kind of weird individuality that the Obayifo has and the way it kind of stands out in the little sea of vampires we're gonna have today, honestly, I think the Obayifo is cool, and it is not just because it has a flashlight in its asshole. Here we have a artist representation of it, and we're just going to shrink that down and place it right there in the B tier. Pretty good. So next up is the Adze. I think that's how you say it. It is spelled A-D-Z-E. Here is a representation of it. Very, very beautiful, very powerful. The Adze is another vampire, a firefly vampire to be exact. The Adze will take the form of a firefly, entering homes via windows and sucking the blood of the home's sleepy owners. If caught, it has the ability to transform into a humanoid-like entity, and along with the ability to possess and cause people's more negative traits to be heightened. So say you get angry easily, you are greedy, you're envious, stuff like that, it'll make that increase. The Adze is very clearly a direct reference to mosquitoes and how they affect populations in Africa. Back whenever things were not fully understood, cultures used to make up spirits and gods and entities, even if they are real, why land would get flooded, why crops would die, why people would die in their homes, just stuff like that. People didn't exactly understand what it was, so they would just make stuff up. While this spirit is very interesting, it is a little bit less, more interesting than the Obayifo and the Bosam Brothers. We already have 3 vampires up on the board, so honestly, I'm thinking it might just have to go into a D tier. I do feel bad for it, but you know, now that we have 4 vampires up there, it's kind of a pretty easy spread of vampire, so we'll just leave it there. Hailing from South Africa, we have the Tikoloshe. Tikoloshe, it is spelled like this. Yeah, however you pronounce that. It is a small, hairy little guy, standing around 2 feet tall. Like, is that near your kneecaps? I have pretty long legs, so I'm not 100% sure. This little prankster loved to cause mischief and chaos. It would steal cows and hit on women a lot. It also had a very massive peen that it literally had to sling over its shoulder for it to be able to walk around. Like I said, they really love women. They possess a single butt cheek, not sure how that works, and they are curiously friendly to children. Like the Adze and many other spirits, the Tikoloshe is tied to carbon monoxide deaths. It was used as a way to explain away carbon monoxide death, especially for the Bantu people. The Bantu people used to live in these homes that looked like this. These homes would have fire pits in the middle, and when the fire burned, it would create carbon monoxide. The carbon monoxide would replace the oxygen, and since carbon monoxide is heavier than air, it would sink down to the bottom, where the people who used to sleep on the floor of the homes would be suffocated from the carbon monoxide. The reason that the Tikoloshe is described as a 2-foot tall humanoid little guy is because whenever these people who lived in these homes built their beds up off the ground, they stopped dying. The carbon monoxide, once it sunk to the floor, would sit there, and if there wasn't enough of it, it wouldn't be able to get to the people who were on the raised bed sleeping. Thus, the Tikoloshe was created because obviously, if I raise my bed and I'm no longer dying from something I can't see, then the thing I can't see must be tiny. The Tikoloshe's appearance is pretty unique. Has a big ol' wiener, but other than that, it doesn't really have that many abilities, so it's just gonna go slap dab in the middle of C tier here. We love a good C tier. Moving east into the continent of Asia, we have the Yaoguai. Yaoguai is a blanket term typically describing demons that have strange abilities, abilities to shapeshift and possess and all this other good stuff. A Yaoguai that you will typically see in media is the nine-tailed fox. The nine-tailed fox exists in Chinese folklore, it exists in Korean folklore, it is honestly just kind of everywhere you look. I mean, it's in Naruto. Yaoguais are also said to be able to take on the appearance of humans and can inflict diseases and all this other stuff. Again, Yaoguais are spirits that are used to kind of explain away phenomenons. Because this is a blanket term and there are both really cool Yaoguais and really boring Yaoguais, I'm just going to place them here in C tier. We're going to scooch on over to Korea here real quick. Here in Korea, this is the only spirit I have for Korea, is the egg ghost. The egg ghost, simply written down in my notes, says egg ghost. The egg ghost resembles an egg, having no eyes, no facial features, no feet, no arms, no legs, no, just nothing. It just looks like a big ass egg. It is said that if you see an egg ghost, you will die. No other way around it. You will die if you see an egg ghost. You know what? Egg ghost, pretty cool. D tier. We're gonna move over to Japan. Now, Japan has a bunch of stuff. Japan and media is obviously very unique in the way that they do things. So when it comes to their spirits and the way that they express their spirituality, they're also going to be very unique. Japan has some very unique spirits. And starting us off in Japan, we have the Gashadokuro. This is how you spell it, Gashadokuro. The Gashadokuro is a skeletal giant and a stalking killer. How exactly you can stalk while being incredibly large, I'm not really sure, but apparently you just... That's how they kill people. They just grab them, crush them, rip them in half with their teeth. Pretty fucking awesome, if I have to say so myself. It is said that the Gashadokuro forms from the bodies of soldiers that are left to rot in the fields of a battle. the hatred and pain that has seeped deep into the bones of these soldiers, and with hundreds of bodies and hundreds of bones, form into a Gashadokuro, seeking out revenge on the living. Because of their sheer size and hatred, it is literally impossible to kill or demolish a Gashadokuro. The only way that they can go away is whenever all the hatred and pain that they have built up dissolves away, then the Gashadokuro disappears. Honestly, this thing is awesome. I really think it's awesome. There's not a lot of descriptor about it, but just because of how cool it is, we're gonna take it. Here's an artist representation. Shrink that hoe down into S tier. Good job, Gashadokuro. You were our first spirit in S tier. Next up in Japan, we have the Kuchisake-Onna. This is how you spell it. Probably said that wrong. It's okay. Miss Kuchisake is the ghost of a woman that has a deep gash that runs from one ear down to the corner of her mouth. Here is an artist representation of her. This is what she looks like. Pretty cool. You know, she's got that Joker smile going on. Typically, it will cover its face with either its hand or a fan and approach somebody in the middle of the night walking down the street. She will then proceed to ask them, "Am I pretty?" If the individual that was asked that reacts negatively or says no, she will take the scissors that she holds and cut their mouth the same way that hers is. If they answer yes to her question, she will leave them alone. The individual will go home, go to sleep, and then it will come into their house while they are sleeping, kill them. It is said that people can avoid either of these treatments by answering in a confusing manner, giving her candy, or answering neutrally, like, yeah, you look okay. I don't like that. Anyways, all I have to say, Kuchisake, very unique, very awesome. I've said unique a lot, but you know, that is the only describing word I have in my dictionary. She's going in the A tier. Now, you've heard of talking out your ass, but how about seeing out of your ass? Slithering its nasty way into our tier list here, we have the Shirime, spelled S-H-I-R-I-M-E. The only thing in my notes that I have for this says butthole eye thing. So we have more anus stuff. Hooray! I can't wait to have another asshole up on the board here. The Shirime's appearance is that of a pale human. Here is an artist representation of it. Basically, it has no face, looks like a person, and then when somebody gets close to it, it rears its ass up in the air and shows you its little butthole eye. The Shirime does not hurt people. All it does is scare people, and honestly, I can respect that. B tier. Flying on in over here, we have the Nuka-Kubi and the Roku-Kubi. I think I'm saying that right. This is how you spell them. Cool. Beginning with the Roku-Kubi, their appearance is that of a normal woman, but at nighttime when they're asleep, their head stretches out and it goes and hunts. It will not really attack people. I mean, it will attack people, but it won't eat people or try to kill them. Mainly, it feasts on small animals. That's really only what the Roku-Kubi eats. And the Roku-Kubi also likes to drink lamp oil. The Nuka-Kubi, a variant of the Roku-Kubi, is essentially the same thing, except that the head of the woman just completely detaches itself, and then it gets to fly around freely, because why not? So, you know, they're just sleeping, and then all of a sudden, their head is just gone. The Nuka-Kubi is more mobile because of this, being able to detach its head, and because of that, it can go longer distances, and it has the ability to be more hostile, and will typically just bite people to death. It is stated that there is no cure to either of these curses, but a mother can get rid of it by passing it down to her daughter, and therefore foregoing the curse via causing your daughter to be a bloodthirsty freak. These two are awesome. A tier. Being labeled simply in my notes as the giant sea man, we have the Umibozu, spelled like this. Only ever seen from the shoulder up through the seas, this beast of a spirit, the Umibozu, appears in deep waters of the ocean, often on calm nights, and has the ability to create massive waves and storms that can destroy ships that encroach on it. There is not much known about it other than its appearance, and due to that sad fact, I am going to have to place it in D tier. I would love to get more information about this thing, and honestly, it might even could have been C tier or even A tier or S tier, but just because I don't know that much about it, placing it in D tier. Here's what it looks like. I'm sorry, little guy. Maybe one day you'll get another chance. Up next, we have the Nure-Onna. think that's how you say it. I'm just gonna call her Nure. The Nure is a sea serpent that hunts on the beaches of the island. I'm not even gonna try to say it. There are two variants of the Nure. One that is more of a womanly appearance with the lower half of a serpent, and then another one that is entirely serpent with basically the face and head of a woman. And they always appear wet. Both of these variants do the same thing. They will utilize cunning tactics and their ability to appear as a beautiful woman to lure in men to kill and eat. Typically, when they appear as a woman, they will have a bundle of very heavy rocks that they use to kind of make it look like a little baby. They will ask for a man's help, hand the bundle of rocks to the man. Boom, he falls to the ground holding the bundle of rocks. He can't stand back up. Chomp, dead. Here's what they look like. Honestly, I'm thinking that they will go nicely into B tier. Moving into Southeast Asia, we have the Daayan, spelled like this. Don't know if that's how you say it. D-A-A-Y-A-N, Daayan. The Daayan is a witch or female paranormal entity that can be compared to that of the succubus of Western folklore. They resemble vampires. There it is again, more vampires. They resemble vampires due to the way that they feed. It is said that a Daayan is created when a woman is treated badly and unfairly during her life, or if she dies at childbirth, and will return from the dead as a Daayan. She will then proceed to haunt the family and feed on the youngest male of the family. She will also seduce men in the streets and lone travelers, imprisoning the man she has, and will continue to feed on him. The cool thing about the Daayan is that instead of feeding like a normal vampire, the Daayan feeds on the age of the person. I'm gonna say the age of the person. Basically what she does is while she's feeding on them, they will continue to get older and older, kind of like their life force is being taken away from them. Because we have a lot of vampires and she is pretty cool, C tier. Let's go. Feeding on humans seems to be a big thing with all these spirits, and that is definitely no different for this demon, the Pischacha. This is how you spell it. Pisachas are described as having red eyes and being active at night. They feed off the energy of humans, much like the Daayan, and have the power to take on different forms, including being invisible. They can possess and alter thoughts of humans, causing mental illness or in worst cases, self-unalivement. The Pischacha possessions are believed to still occur today, and people of India fear this demon and will offer it food to keep it away. It's a D tier spirit, I have to say. To be honest, it's hard to place something. Honestly, it is hard to place something so basic in a higher tier, even if it does have cultural significance. If it had a cooler ability, say the ability to make people's pinky fingers disappear or something, I could easily put it into A tier, but just because of how kind of it is, it'll sit in D tier. Another woman spirit who died tragically is the Churel. Okay, so what is up with India and other places having women who are in tragic situations just becoming spirits? It's a little bit weird. It's a little bit suspicious, if I have to say so myself. According to the legend, the Churel, this is how you spell it, is a demonic and vengeful spirit, often latching onto trees to hunt. And it is rather ugly, like most things. They lure men into the woods and the mountains and steal their life force, blah, blah, blah. I've heard that before. It's just another frickin' vampire. F tier. F tier. F tier. Coming over from Sri Lanka, we have the devil bird. The devil bird, much like the Banshee of the Irish folklore, uses its scream to signify when somebody is dying. Yeah. Even though the devil bird most likely came first in the chronological order of the world, I'm gonna say that it's a D tier. D tier. WeWe Gombel, or Gombel, hailing from Indonesia, is a spirit with really long boobies. She kidnaps children who have been mistreated and takes care of them. Here's a picture of her. WeWe Gombel, D tier. Next up is this little weirdo, the Tinayak. This is how you spell it. Probably said that wrong. It's okay. The Tinayak from the Philippines' favorite activity is to pretend to be a helpless baby on the forest floor and lure people in so that it can kill them. It is small, bald-headed, pretty ugly, C tier. Moving on to Thailand, we have the Krause. It is depicted as the head of a beautiful woman who floats around at night with her entrails hanging below her. The Krause will eat the flesh of animals and humans and will stalk pregnant women to eat the baby once it is born, and even sometimes pull the baby out while it is still in utero and eat it, including the placenta. So, pretty cool? Question mark? This thing is making me uncomfortable, but it will fit comfortably into B tier. Our last spirit through this little journey of Asia is going to be the Konkai. Spelled like this. This is how it looks. Ugly little thing. This butt ugly little thing. The Konkai is a spirit that possesses only one leg, that is turned backwards, has a... I mean, just look at the picture. This thing is ugly. The reason it is named the Konkai is because when it jumps around, it goes Konkai. I've been saying Konkai. It's Konkoi, excuse me. The Konkoi is named Konkoi because whenever it jumps around, it goes Koi, Koi. And that's all I wrote for it. I really do not like the way that it looks. It's gonna go into C tier. We have a lot of C tier things. Actually, no. Tired of putting stuff into C tier. D tier. It goes into D tier. Because I didn't really have any from Europe, just to throw one in from Europe, we're gonna go with the Dybbuk from Jewish folklore. This is how you spell it. The Dybbuk is a disembodied human spirit, shunned from moving on because of its past sins, and it is forced to wander endlessly until it can find and possess a living person. Back in the day, like the 16th century day, people were not exactly aware of mental disorders as well as we are today. So whenever somebody had a mental illness or disorder, they would believe that sometimes the individual with the disorder was possessed by a Dybbuk. The Dybbuk is rather intriguing because if you didn't know, a few years ago, back when, like, you know, horror YouTubers, they were popular and everything, people would buy Dybbuk boxes off of the internet.
Or something. That's weird. See, it's melting down.
A Dybbuk box is said to be a box that the Dybbuk is put into, stuff that it might have like possessed during its life. So like items, pictures, memorabilia, and then it is sealed in wax so the Dybbuk cannot get out. YouTubers would just buy one off of eBay, crack it open, and then try to speak with the Dybbuk. Not sure if that was a good idea, but the Dybbuk is honestly a really cool spirit. So A tier. As we approach the end of the list here, the spirits per region get less and less, so we only have like 4 more spirits, which is good because that means I don't have to edit this video as much anymore, and we can get straight on to the next one, which is the Phantome. I'm saying it Phantome, so I don't have to say Phantom. It originates from the Caribbean and is also sometimes called the Moon Gazer. This is what it looks like. Can you focus? Hello? Hello? This is what the Moon Gazer looks like. It has extremely long legs and it stands on crossroads. Whoever tries to go under the Phantome's legs will be crushed, and you can just go around it also. I mean, that works too. Honestly, this thing is pretty cool. Kind of sad that it doesn't have any more information on it, but because of what I know about it and because of what I've told you about it, I'm just gonna place it in B tier. Pretty cool. Next up from Mexico, we have the, that's how you spell it. The Sihuanaba that I am covering, while many stories will differ, originates from El Salvador. And that version of the Sihuanaba is actually called the La Sihuanaba. Probably saying that wrong. I know I'm saying that wrong actually, but it's okay. She's said to appear to unfaithful men at the edge of a body of water, being deceptively beautiful and naked. Ew, you're naked! Shortly after the men see her though, she will exit the body of water, revealing her chicken feet, long boobs. Look at it. Look, there it is. Chicken feet, backwards legs, long boobs, really long hair, and the head of that, which is a horse skull. The funny thing is that she will take her really long boobs and then beat them against stones to scare people. The story behind her was that she was a peasant woman that was so beautiful that she could seduce gods. And she did. She seduced a god by the name of Tinayak, a storm god. She had a child with this god, completely neglected it, and then Tinayak was angry. So he cursed her to like forever roam the earth and be hideous. Hideous. This one was awesome. I really liked it. I'm gonna put it in A tier. Last but not least, we have Llorona. This is how you spell her name. La Llorona is a staple in Mexican folklore, her story being that of despair, heartbreak, and murder. La Llorona, often depicted in a white dress, is typically seen near bodies of water, the fact mirroring her origin story. The story that I found on her states that it came from the 1500s, but there are many different origin stories to La Llorona. The one that I will tell you about is one of a Spaniard man who came over and had affairs with La Llorona, causing her to have children. She wanted to marry her, he rejected her, so in retaliation, she killed their 3 children. This sin caused her to forever haunt around bodies of water where she supposedly killed her children. It is said that you can still see La Llorona near bodies of water, and if you hear her cries, then great misfortune will befall you. La Llorona is such a classic. I remember, I think it was BuzzFeed Unsolved. They did a video on her. I really enjoyed it. There was also a video of these people who were in a playground. I'm guessing somewhere like in southern Texas or northern Mexico. And it was of a playground. And there was this woman in a white dress and she was bawling her eyes out in the playground. And it scared the hell out of me. I think I was probably like 12 or 13. And that video really scared me. I'm 19 now. I'm still scared of that video. Obviously, Miss La Llorona is going into S tier. I cannot put her anywhere else. She is such a staple in horror. S tier, S tier, S tier, S tier. Good on her. Good on her for killing her children. And with that, we have the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed. Here is our tier list with all of our tiers and all of our spirits. I know you're probably not happy with this tier list, but you know, that is okay because I am. That's what matters. No, it's not. If you enjoyed the video, please do make sure to comment down what you would like to see next. Like the video, subscribe to my YouTube channel, Mr. Tadpoles. I am wearing this. I typically don't. I got a lav mic and I was gonna put it on my little thingy here, but when I do that, the audio quality kind of decreases a little bit, and it's probably because I talk like away from the microphone, and I'm not supposed to do that. I understand that, but it's hard for me not to, so I just kind of use my built-in mic holder right here, and then I can just do that. I know I look stupid. Function over fashion. Hope you enjoyed. See you in the next one. I know it's been a little bit since I recorded a video and posted one, but here it is. Here it is. Bye-bye.